Just when you think they're turning the corner in terms of they had a great result against Palace, where at home, 20 minutes the game was done. Then over 2 legs they put out Chelsea in the Cup semi-final, albeit Chelsea were poor, but Arsenal still got the job done and were the better side. And then they pitch up and perform like that, and the way they defended in this game was a shocker.
Looked like they never played together before.
But this is kind of what Arsenal do, isn't it? They go through little spells if you think, oh, wait a minute, they've got this together. They look decent at the back as well, which you have to be, the games they've just won. And then they've scored goals, and then all of a sudden, they kind of revert back to what we've kind of come to expect now in Arsenal, is a team that just looks gutless. They looked gutless tonight.
8 points now off the top 4. It's
this is what Arsenal will do, right? This is what will happen. They'll throw out a little bit of bait to the supporters who, and we know I don't know if it's a 50-50 split or who wants Wenger out. But you know the opinion most of us in here, his time came and went a long time ago. But they'll throw that bit of bait out where, we're signing Mkhitaryan. This is a great deal. Well, Sanchez has gone, Aubameyang's coming in. We're in the League Cup semi-final. We might win the Europa League. They'll throw that out as bait, but they're miles off being even close to making a challenge. Never mind getting in the top 4.
I don't want to sound overly paranoid here, but it does kind of feel like there's these business decisions being made, like, well, we can't pay Sanchez, so, but look, here's Mkhitaryan, who's, not really done much in 18 months, but it's okay because look, we got this guy from Dortmund who nobody'd ever heard of until very recently, this Sven Mislintat, and he'll get Mkhitaryan back to being, the greatest thing ever. And look, and we'll get Aubameyang. Never mind the fact that, how's he going to play with Lacazette? But that's all right. Well, we'll figure it out. And never mind the fact that both these guys are in their late 20s now, and Aubameyang's had disciplinary issues. All this stuff coming together. And meanwhile, sort of very quietly, you go back a few years ago, all those years that Wenger was criticized for sticking with Theo Walcott and sticking with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Jack Wilshere now is, quote, like a new signing. But now these guys are all gone, right? Weren't these guys supposed to be the future? And probably stuck with them for far too long, but now they're sort of quietly out the door. And I don't know, you really, I don't want to sound paranoid, but you really wonder what is happening. Are we seeing, is this the end of Wenger again, with the club now saying, all right, to one side, now somebody else is in charge?
Let's bring Mark Ogden into the conversation because, of course, as Craig mentioned, there's been a lot of talk recently about Aubameyang going to Arsenal. And Mark, this seems to be quite a bit of musical chairs when it comes to strikers within London and beyond, because rumours are that you've got Aubameyang going to Arsenal, Giroud going to Chelsea, and Batshuayi going to Dortmund.
Yeah, Aubameyang is currently in London, undergoing his medical, we think. That should be done tomorrow. But Dortmund won't let him go properly until Batshuayi or until they get a striker in. So it looks like Giroud to Chelsea, and when Giroud arrives at Chelsea, Batshuayi will go to Dortmund. So it is a bit of musical chairs, but I think by midday tomorrow, maybe mid-afternoon, it should all be done, and Arsenal get Aubameyang and Chelsea get Giroud. It's a strange one, Giroud, because I'm not quite sure what he has to Chelsea in terms of pace and goals, but it's goals for Arsenal. But I don't know. It seems like a bit of a compromise for Conte rather than what he really wants.
Let's start with Aubameyang, then, shall we? Yeah. As Gab says, tactically, maybe this doesn't quite make sense, but is an upgrade on what they've got already. It
should be.
Wait, an upgrade over Lacazette?
Oh, yeah.
Is this what we're saying now? All of a sudden, like, Aubameyang is such an obvious upgrade over Lacazette, who's the one position that they just added in the summer that you would think they would need to fill. And
but he's been poor.
Oh, no, you can't say he's... By the way, you can't just turn around and say he's been poor. By the way, the service he's been getting has been horrible. And then when it's come to some of the big games this season, he hasn't even started.
Well, that tells you a story.
The numbers that
you saying Lacazette's a better player than Aubameyang?
Yes.
Wayne, don't.
Yes, I am. 100%.
Wayne, don't hate
100%.
Listen, if Arsenal had signed Aubameyang in the summer ahead of Lacazette, you wouldn't have batted an eyelid.
You take the pace away from Aubameyang, what you got left?
Well, but he's got pace.
You take pace away from what you got left. Lacazette's a far better football player. He's got far better his back to goal as well. He understands the game so much better. Aubameyang is all about pace and balls in behind. Because he can't hold the ball up.
And when was having great pace such a big problem in the modern game?
But
He's not 34 and
If
his
you're
legs
trying to
have
say
gone.
that Aubameyang is better than Lacazette,
That's
I'm
all
just
I'm saying. I
telling you
think
that
Aubameyang's a
because
better
of his
player than
pace,
Lacazette.
Well,
people.
Either way, I think the assumption is that he's going to, I would assume, I mean, unless he's thoroughly gone mad, play the two of them together because they've got so much money now tied up in these players. And the idea is these two guys together, which then raises another issue that, unless I'm forgetting something, these two have only ever played as lone strikers, certainly in recent years. And Aubameyang hasn't played on the wing since maybe his first season at Dortmund. So I don't know. It seems like all of a sudden you're changing everything, changing the way you play, going back to two strikers like back in the days of Alan Smith and Ian Wright.
You're not going to two strikers. Some clown said to me on social media the other day, oh, he's going to play Aubameyang and Lacazette, and then he's going to put Mkhitaryan and Ozil. Have you seen this midfield and defence? Do you really think, does anybody really think that Arsenal can play with such an attacking force that they've got enough backbone in this team to cope with all those players? I don't think so. I don't think they're even close.
I mean, Craig, you made the point there. I think it's right. The fact I just don't think that there's a plan behind this. I think that they brought Aubameyang in because they needed a big name, they needed a big statement signing because Sanchez has gone to Man United, and I can't see Lacazette and Aubameyang playing together. I've seen quite a bit of Lacazette this season. I think he's such a downgrade of what Arsenal have had in the past. He's not in the same league as people like Van Persie, Henry. You're right, he doesn't have the pace. He doesn't seem to have the aggression, the confidence. He seems to shrink into his shell when he plays against bigger teams, and I just think they've made a big mistake with Lacazette, and I think Aubameyang is a way of trying to rectify that. But again, Ozil, Mkhitaryan, I've seen a lot of Mkhitaryan at United, doesn't work hard enough, which is he's probably born to play for Arsenal. He's got all the Arsenal credentials. He's a kind of a nice player on the ball when it's going well, but when it's going badly, you won't see Mkhitaryan. So Mkhitaryan, Ozil, people and Lacazette, it just doesn't stack up. So I don't know where this all fits into a big master plan. I just think Arsenal need a big name. Aubameyang is that. I think he'll do well in the Premier League. I think he's got pace, he's got height, he'll score goals, he's confident. He's a much better bet than Lacazette, but I think Lacazette just fades away after this.
Aubameyang's done it at a higher level. Well, let's be honest. Let's take them in context, right? I was talking about Aubameyang going to China in the summer and whatnot, and he's been going to make this big move for a while. Maybe a lot of it's down to the disciplinary problems that people haven't taken him. Maybe some don't like him. But I didn't think there was that many out there absolutely with the begging ball chasing Lacazette before he went to Arsenal. No? Was Lacazette this big fish? Was Lacazette this big fish?
If you're going to use that argument, you could say the same about Aubameyang. Aubameyang has been...
Who's played at the higher level?
Aubameyang has been
Who's played at the higher level?
Aubameyang has been going around Europe, hawking himself to every man and dog that'll listen, but he's still at Dortmund. He can't... So...
Possibly from a disciplinary point of view. Possibly from a disciplinary point of view. Who has played at the higher level in the last 5 or 6 years? Lacazette or Aubameyang?
Well, obviously, Aubameyang has played at Dortmund, which is supposedly a better league than France.
That's
what you're getting at.
The Champions League?
The next piece of this puzzle.
There's no puzzle.
Giroud to Chelsea.
There's no puzzle.
Does Giroud to Chelsea work in your eyes?
Well, if they want...
Stevie?
No.
Why not?
Well, Conte looks as though he's looking for a figurehead. To hold the ball up and to bring other people in. So why is he looking at Giroud? Because Giroud, in my opinion, with his back to goal, isn't great on the ball. And if you can't hold the ball up, then you're not going to be able to bring people like Hazard or Pedro in. So why is he signing him?
There's another club with no plan.
Yeah.
Seems strange to be saying this about these huge clubs that have been successful, but where's the plan at Chelsea?
Chelsea have an excuse relative to Arsenal because Chelsea don't have a director of football right now, and they have a manager who could be gone in 6 months, whereas the other one just brought in this newfangled expert, Mislintat, and on top of that, they have a manager who we know will be there for eternity. You know, he's like Highlander, right? You know, there could be only one. So I think the idea with Giroud is short-term. You have a big body, and if you want to play him as a target man, and if you go back a couple years when expectations were perhaps lower, I think they feel he can do a job for them. And Batshuayi, I would expect will be alone, but not somebody they give up on entirely.
Arsenal brought this Mislintat in, who had been at Dortmund, and Wenger was quoted as, and I think I might be out of turn, but here I don't know, but he was quoted as saying, "Well, we know all the players anyway." Unless he's spotted some player at some small, tiny little club in Germany, we know all the players. I mean, there's arrogance for you.